So basically, when we begin this whole grant approval process, it used to be very often that these small to medium organizations, we had to sit and help them articulate the outcomes and impact, and possibly even help them kind of plan the program. And many times one would get this feeling: is this program getting donor driven? Therefore, because it's very difficult for them to kind of say, no, this is not what I really want to do, or this is something which I feel differently about it. So at that point, in such situations, building capacity of the organization to do these things, or to articulate their impact, outcomes, or even theory of change, or all that is around program besides the organizational development, we felt it would be good if the person other than the donor is doing it. So from that point of view, our model is to actually support basically capacity of small to medium organizations, because we feel that these organizations do not many times know where to go for such help, may not have the funds to really invest in capacity building, and but they have wonderful ideas and a lot of passion to work. So we would like to support these early stage kind of medium to small organization. And so as far as the Atma, our connect with Atma is concerned, we have connected with them, or we have worked with them on 3 different models. One is the 3-year accelerator program, which work towards basically building capacity of education NGOs to achieve scale, or to enable them to deliver better in terms of the quality of education. We have supported 2 NGOs, and we are in the last year of our first cohort. The second model which we have supported through Atma are the webinar series on capacity building in the times of crisis. That's what we called it. And around 20 NGOs, participated in these webinar series. There were 2 webinars on program redesign and on financial management. And many of our own partners, participated in this. And the third is our participation in the FOI collaborative. So basically, just a little bit about on the accelerator program. So whenever we would speak to our partner NGOs, after a year of having gone through the accelerator program, most of them mentioned that it's like, we had a program. So we were a program and we had a passion to do it, but now we are an organization. So we know we have the various building blocks, and we know how to modify them, how to use them in the future. So they are actually talking about the building blocks being sustainable, because they have been, as they articulate, they have been constructed with them according to what they require. So one of the things that stands out is basically that Atma may have a lot of formats and systems in place, but then it's always considering what does the organization need, and how do we get it from them that this is how we could do it, rather than imposing anything. So that comes through very clearly, in their work in the accelerator program. The other thing is they feel that when in this whole this whole exercise of onboarding is something they talk. They remember a lot of there are a lot of incidents around this onboarding exercise where they have felt anger, they have felt frustration or fear as to, oh my God, this is the amount of work I have to do for capacity building or to build my organization. But then there was always this confidence that we are there and we could do it all together. So it's like a mix, when you have to change, you have to go through these turmoils, but then if there is somebody who's going to hold your hand, it feels very comfortable to do these, go through the change. Another thing which I've heard them talk often is about, gradually passing on the responsibility. So it's like developing something with them, trying it out, tweaking it, and then when it's used the next time, leaving their hand and letting them do it themselves and understand that where were the pitfalls. So in the accelerator program, there were these, it's when you speak to them, it's like really, it's been very overwhelming exercise for them. It's like from theory of change to understanding what LFA is, their own program getting strong. They've been able to articulate impact, outcome indicators, outcomes, and the baseline inline survey, and all that exercise has been, it's like they have, what they often talk about is that these blocks are now there, now we will go on tweaking it. So the accelerator program, I think, has been very useful for these organizations. And what we had always felt, that it should not be a short exercise where something is told to them and the organization exists. This whole mentoring exercise and being together with them is, I think, the main crux of why things really change and they sustain, and it really helps to develop the leadership in the organization. Our experience with the webinar series, it was like almost like we co-designed it with Atma. So Atma took a lot of time to understand who the NGO partners are going to be, what are their needs, and what do they really require. And we co-designed the entire two programs together. Not that we were not aware of the content, but we knew that where are the pitfalls of what is happening to the NGOs. The pre-surveys, the reading material, and all that went in, or even the prodding or pushing the NGOs to implement, between two webinar series, between two webinars, what they must implement and come back to the second webinar. All that, has been really helpful in translating some action at the field level. And they have been really talking about, especially the program redesign part, that they, during the pandemic, they were able to go through all the 5 steps which Atma had, kind of familiarized them. So it's been, in the real sense, capacity building in both the programs.
Yeah, our approach has been actually, looking at it from 3 ways. One is at the individual level, where we actually support leadership programs, which builds the capacity of individuals to lead the organizations, to lead NGOs. So we have programs like ILSS, DASRA, ISTM, and the likes of it in our portfolio. The second area that we really focus when it comes to capacity building is, NGO, where we build the capacity of the organizations, where we directly work with NGOs. And our focus, generally is building capacity through either getting people, which is generally a, resource gap, or, helping them with the processes, or helping them with developing or leveraging technology. So with organizations, we have that support. And then the third very critical part of our capacity building vertical is ecosystem capacity building. And when I talk about ecosystem building, there are 2 lenses we look at. One is, how do we build the capacity where we can mobilize more funds in the sector? So we support the likes of, Give India to really strengthen, that as an organization which can channelize more funding. And then also, HR, talent management, how do we bring more talent in the ecosystem? And then we are also part of the collaboratives, as a part of ecosystem support that we offer to the NGOs, because we don't want to limit our, support to only a small cohort that we work with. The idea is how do we, take our learnings from the small cohort, like I said earlier, and implement at the ecosystem level. That's where the Future of Impact collaborative came in, where we engaged with Atma, and there were like-minded intermediaries who came together to say what is the gap right now that the NGOs are facing in terms of the crisis. Actually, it wasn't even a gap, it was a crisis situation back in April last year. And I think, I remember we were the early ones to really, start the conversation about how do we start, supporting NGOs, whether it's knowledge, whether it's resource share, whether it's fun, what is the gap really, how do we really get them sail through this, this unprecedented crisis. And I think that approach, I feel like, has been the highest return on our investment, because the money that we put in is so small. I think one of the smallest grants that I feel in the long time. but the kind of returns that is generated, the kind of engagement that I have seen from the NGO, from the first conference having 500 to even recently concluded conferences, great engagement from the NGOs. And I think the reason that happens is because we were very mindful of ensuring that the NGOs are at the center of all the decision making. So we always went back to the drawing board, when we used to have our catch-ups monthly, to say, what are NGOs telling us? So, me being the foundation representative would speak to my NGOs and bring my learnings to the table, while Anjali brings her learnings to the table. We all said, this is what we are hearing from the ground. How can we really address this, whether it's through a masterclass, whether it's through mentorship, whether it's through a conference. So I just love that different formats were organized so that different NGOs can take the support, whether somebody just doesn't want to engage in a one-on-one mentorship, can always just come to a knowledge sharing conference, while some who really wants dedicated support can come to a mentorship support. So I just love that the options were available to NGOs. The kind of topics were very much focused on addressing what was the current need of the NGO at that point in time, which I think what I think was very, very successful. And I think the diversity of the collaborative, because I feel generally what happens is, when you start a collaborative, you try to bring the like-minded people, but then that limits the diversity, in the long term. But I think what Atma really was enabled to do was get in more diverse set of partners who were able to really address different kind of problems that NGOs were facing. Whether it's getting a session done from Naushad Dadrawala on how do we look at corpus funding, to Satwa doing a session on how do we address the vaccination hesitancy, which I think is so diverse. I don't know if any collaborative has managed to really hit that, the diversity in the kind of topics they were able to address. So I think that also attributes to the kind of partnership, the partners, the diversity in that, and Atma's ability to really ensure that everybody participates. Nobody was really left behind, whether it was partners who were part of these collaboratives, or whether it was the NGOs, who were on the receiving end of the support. So I just feel that was a very, very, thought through, systematic approach to, the engagement.
So we partnered with Atma. We began the exercise almost from the scratch, from the beginning. That's how I started. I remember the exercise of building the elevator pitch. That we had a workshop. We all of us came together. And, in the meeting, they helped me to build the elevator pitch for my organization. I was so excited. And that is one thing that even today I keep using same thing over and over, and everybody keeps saying, "Oh, you have built it so well." And for your information, I heard the term elevator pitch for the first time there, because I didn't even know what that means. So having said that, see, I know Prasad is very concerned about the time. So, but I'll be very briefly mentioning what all we went through. We covered the area of fundraising, monitoring and evaluation, finance, leadership, marketing, program design, and strategy. All these, I think, we covered. We planned for 5 years. We covered 80% of that in 3 years itself. So that's something. So right from the designing logo, preparing master proposal, then PPT presentation for pitch, the logic model, the donor tracker, budget trackers, theory of change, and very recently the hiring SOPs and program curriculum, including the program curriculum. We didn't have a program because it was a new organization. We built the program curriculum and everything. As I said, what we thought of covering up in 5 years, we managed to cover 80%, almost 90% of it in 3 years itself.
The outcome readiness program is very simply put, it's an 18-month accelerator program where there are 3 phases. First is, we do a selection process for nonprofits who are now ready to participate in outcome-based tools. So this is not for early stage nonprofits. This is for organizations who've reached a certain size and scale already in their journey. And then from there on, we go through them. We almost go through an 18-month journey with them. The second phase is a diagnostic phase where we talk to them about 3 different aspects. One is about how their organization is already performing, how cost effective their current systems are. 2 is about how outcomes aligned they already are. Are they already aligned to either government frameworks and outcomes? Are they aligned to SDGs or even sector acceptable outcomes, right? Are they all, how outcomes aligned they already are? And I think the last one is then really, taking a step up view on how ready their organization is, whether it's their HR systems, whether it's their risk management, whether it's their budgeting, finances, fundraising, and so on. So, and this is, this is an extremely intensive exercise doing, running this in a very workshop style. Ideally, we did this first one post pandemic, so it was extremely crazy. And then Atma has been such a wonderful partner to have with us on this journey, where they really held all of it together with the 2 NGO partners that we work with. It's been first 6 months, Prasad, but it's already been a great learning journey on this. Atma has been our partner. We designed the framework and we were ready to take off when the pandemic hit. And then post that, we've sort of done the first 2 phases along with Atma. The third phase is really working with the nonprofits on, once you've done the diagnostic and identified, okay, here are the need areas for these organizations, and we have certain modules that we can help them, to build these gaps or capacities which may be there in their organizations. That's the part that we're just about to begin. It's been building the ship as we go, but I think the main learning from all of this is, while you can be as modular as you want, these are real founders, these are real organizations, and the needs are often very complex and very, very, very different. And both in delivery and in thinking, you'll have to take them on that journey. It can't be just very modular all the time. It has to be very, very customized. And I think Atma has done a brilliant job. They bring really strong experience from their own accelerator. And that's been really complementary to our, our knowledge on the social outcome side, on running outcome-based tools and so on. So that's been a great journey, and it's been a really great learning experience for both of us so far.